Hi guys, Sammy George here, doing my 10 best games of the season so far. Yesterday I did a 20 team review. I hope you enjoyed that. That was my honest opinion on each team. So yeah, hope everyone's enjoying their day. Lovely weather outside. And yeah, I'm going to start my 10 best game of the season so far. I had a look for all the fixtures, looked at the games, remembering which ones I enjoyed personally, and seeing whether you agree and what you think of the games I've chosen. So we're going to start with Arsenal-Tottenham, a 2-2 draw in a London derby. I remember that game quite well. Eriksen and Harry Kane scored in the first half, and it looked like Spurs were flying first half. But under Emre, Arsenal always seemed to come back. Although they were poor at the back, they always used to score goals. And they got a goal just before half-time with Lacazette. And I remember second half, it was like an onslaught of Arsenal attacks. And Aubameyang got an equaliser. There was 7 bookings in the game, 5 for Spurs. So it was a very feisty, typical London derby. And I think in lots of games between Arsenal and Spurs, there's been some, fantastic games. A lot of 4-5-2 Arsenal wins. There's been some 4-4 draw. There's been there's been some fantastic games over the years. But yeah, I thought that was an absolute classic again. 2 excellent teams really. And I thought, in that particular game, it's just a classic derby game. So that was my first game out of the 10. I'll then go for the Chelsea 5-2 at the start of the season away at Wolves. I thought personally, I remember that game. And 5 English scores for Chelsea. Tammy Abraham got a hat-trick. Mount scored. Tamari scored a screamer. And I've got to say, not many teams win at Wolves, let alone go there and score 5 goals and beat them like they did. So although I'm not a Chelsea supporter, I've got to admire the way they played in that game. I thought they were excellent. I thought they controlled the game. And I thought Tammy Abraham, I was thinking, blimey, he's good. And I was thinking, he was at Villa last season. How's he gone and done this? And at the same time, I was thinking, blimey, maybe we might have to respect Chelsea a bit this season. Because everyone thought with the transfer restrictions and with Lampard's first season with a proper big job, it's going to be a tough one. But to be fair, they have done well. They're in 4th. And in that particular game, I was really impressed. And Wolves got taken to the cleaners at their own ground, which doesn't happen in any game, even away from home for Wolves. So I've got to say, I was really impressed with Chelsea that day. And that was my second game of the season that I think would be in my top 10. Next up, we've got Norwich at home to City. See, in that game, I thought as well, I thought Norwich was fantastic. I said before in my review yesterday that I think Norwich do play really attractive football. They do go at you. And in that game in particular, you wouldn't get many teams that would happily take City on at a game of chess, really, going attack versus attack. And they really did. They went for it. I thought Pukki was amazing. He was in really good form at the time. And Norwich just went for it and thought, you know what, let's go for it. There's nothing to lose here. We expect to lose. And they were brilliant. They were 2-0 up within half an hour. And I think Aguero got a goal just before the break. And then you're thinking, oh God, City going to come back when there's 3 or 4-2, 5-2, And to be fair, second half, Pukki got an early goal in the second half for Norwich. And they were back in the, back with a 2-goal lead at 3-1. And they really grinded it out. City got a goal. I think Rodri scored a really good goal from my memory just before the end. And it looked like, oh, this is going to be a nervy extra time. But fantastic to hold on for the win. And a really impressive result. Home or away at City. But that is an excellent result. And I think Norwich's best game of the season by far. But yeah, a game that I remember well watching it. On the way back from a United game, in fact, I watched it on the coach. And I've got to say, they were brilliant, Norwich. And they really deserved the win. Next game involves City again, but this time they won. 8-0 against Watford. See, I remember that well as well. And they scored 5 goals within 18 minutes, which is unprecedented. It's quite incredible. I think Bernardo Silva scored a hat-trick in the game. De Bruyne got a hat-trick of assists. And I just think, God, in that game, they looked like Barcelona at their absolute peak. And I've got to say, that they do play some incredible football, City. They can kind of break you down at any time and score incredible goals. In that game in particular, they would just absolutely destroy Watford. And I think that's the game that they sacked Nuno Flores and brought in Pearson after that. Because I just think, really, City just took them to the cleaners. They couldn't cope with it. And that was the game I sat up and thought, wow. I mean, City at their best, I don't think we'd have a chance. I don't think anybody would have a chance against. Even Liverpool, I think, if City played like that, I just don't see any team stopping them. So, but yeah, Watford were poor on the day, but City was so good. So that was that game. Next up, we've got another City game, actually. They lost 2-0 at home to Wolves. And what I remember this game for is tactical masterclass by Nuno. 5 at the back, 3 in midfield, 2 up front. He played with a front 2 of Adama Traore and Jimenez, and they caused them absolute nightmares. I think in the game they had something like 20% of the ball, 25% of the ball. Sat behind the ball, made blocks, made tackles, threw their bodies on the line. And on the counter-attack later into the game, they scored 2, 80th and the 94th minute. But they were just lethal on the counter-attack. Jimenez link-up play, hold-up play. Traore's absolute ridiculous pace that we all know he's got. And to be fair, he finished them both beautifully, very similar goals. And to go away to City at the Etihad and win and keep a clean sheet like that was incredibly impressive by Wolves. They frustrated City. City actually ended up with 5 yellow cards in that game. And I was just very impressed by Wolves in that particular game. Next up, all my good friends, Saints fans won't thank me for this, but I have to put it in there because it is one of the games of the season. Is the 9-0 away win for Leicester at St Mary's. Obviously, there will be another game later into this that Saints fans will like. But this one in particular, 5 goals in the first half, 4 in the second. They were ruthless, Leicester. Vardy hat-trick, Perez hat-trick. It was quite incredible. They did play some stunning football. Saints were blown off the park. Bertrand got an early red card, and I think that set them back a lot. But at the same time, I think Leicester were outstanding. I think that was Leicester at their peak. Leicester playing at their absolute best, and Saints probably at their lowest of lows. And I think after that, Saints went on a really good run, sort of a 2 or 3 month run where they was excellent up till this break. Obviously, recently they were in great form. They've really pushed up. People were thinking even Champions League till lately. So, yeah, I've got to say Saints have been excellent lately. But in that game, I think that was the lowest they've got and probably the best that Leicester have got. So that was that game. The next game I've got is the 3-2 win away at West Ham for Spurs. And that was Mourinho's first game in charge. I remember watching that at my dad's and I thought to myself, wow, I mean, if Spurs play like this, they're fools. And I really did think Mourinho could bring them trophies. I don't understand what's gone wrong recently. I feel they've lost form. They've lost their character, their confidence. But in that game in particular, with Son, Kane and Lucas scoring, all assisting each other as well, the fullbacks were getting high up. And sort of they had a system where 5 players were in the attack. I think it was Aurier, Lucas, Son, Kane, and Ali. Yeah, all them 5 players were always up front. And I think you had Davis, Sanchez, Vertonghen and Alderweireld were back all the time. So I think you always had 5 forward and always had 5 back. And I was really impressed with them. They're 3-0 up within 15 minutes. And I think after that, for some reason, they had a little blip. I think West Ham got a couple of goals back and it was nervy for them. But from what I remember, I was really impressed with them. I thought Ali looked incredible. In fact, for the first 2 months under Mourinho, I thought Ali was ridiculous. And obviously I thought, wow, if the Euros was happening this year, I was really excited to see him behind Kane with a front 4 of Sterling and Rashford on the wings as well. I was really excited to see that. But yeah, Ali's a player I do really like. He gets in the box, he scores goals. His movement's good. He's always floating around in the pockets. And he was an impressive player. By the way, my background, I'm going to change tomorrow. I'm going to sit in my brother's room. He's got a nice background. I couldn't today because he's still asleep. But, yeah, I will improve on that. That is my one thing I do need to update. But, yeah, as far as that game, I was really impressed with Spurs. And I did think to myself, West Ham are complete shambles defensively at times. But at the same time, West Ham did show some fight. And I do think in some of their players, they've clearly got some talent that just needs, for me, better management. The next game is Wolves again against City, actually, which was the 3-2 game. Another incredible game. I remember watching this myself again. Ederson got sent off early. Bravo come on. And City with 10 men scored twice with Sterling. I think he missed 2 penalties but scored 1 on the rebound and then scored a normal goal. I think it was a chip over the keeper. And then 2-0 down at home, Wolves with the man advantage. They were thinking, well, what's going on here? But an absolutely fantastic second half. I remember Traore scoring a great goal. and then he set up Jimenez. And then towards the end, Doherty scored from right wing back, and he's a player. I think from wing back he can always score goals. He can always give you something on the wing. And I think with Traore, Jimenez, they just ripped City to shreds second half. Not just because of the 10 men, just because I thought Wolves were outstanding and City really struggled to cope with that. But obviously, that was a game I really remember. I think Wolves are excellent. City first half were excellent, but they really faded second half and Wolves took them apart. So that was really impressive by Wolves. The next one, I think, is the second to last game. Saints fans will be happy about this one. It's the 2-1 win away at Leicester. A brilliant performance by them. They went 1-0 down within 15 minutes, and you're thinking, oh God, is it going to be another 9-0? But the character they showed was really good. I thought that was really positive for them. I think Armstrong scored just after they conceded, which was good. And I think, obviously, getting back into the game early gave them some confidence. And he sort of grew into the game, kept Leicester at bay and kept causing problems on the counter-attack. And then 10 minutes before the end, Danny Ings with a really, really good finish and a fantastic win. I'm sure a lot of my friends I know really enjoyed that result and really enjoyed the day out there, the away day. And I thought they were outstanding in that game. Fantastic revenge for them after that really bad game at home. And I've got to say I was really impressed with the way they responded in that game. And so that's my 9th game of the season that I'd say was another outstanding game. And finally, I had to include a United game in there because I do think this was one of the best games of the season, just before the pandemic break against City, 2-0. I thought we were outstanding. I thought we defended well. We were compact. We didn't give City space. I thought on the counter-attack we were fantastic. I thought really clever goal with Bruno's little flick over to Martial. And then towards the end, we were hanging on a bit, but we were putting our bodies on the line. I remember Ederson throwing it out, McTominay, a lovely driven shot into the empty net. And obviously that was a great feeling. I remember myself going quite mad after that. But I thought that was a fantastic performance by us, and beating City doing a double was really sweet for me and all United fans. So that's my 10 games that I'd say over this season. I've got to say they're the best games that I've watched. They're the 10 best games that I thought people would also agree were excellent games. There's plenty of other games. There's 2-2s, there's 3-3s. So there's plenty of other games, but games that I've actually watched and I can remember quite well, I'd say that they're my 10 favourites. So yeah, like and subscribe. Hope you really enjoyed that. It's only a short video, but obviously I've gone through the 10 games, and that's my opinions on them 10 games, what I think was good and what not. But yeah, I was really impressed with these 10 games in particular, and yeah, sorry for my but yeah, hope you enjoyed that, guys. I'm going to be putting more videos on each day on my football show. I do really love talking about football. It's a real passion of mine, as all my friends and family know. It's something that I love to talk about. Obviously I love United, but I just love football. I love it. I love all the leagues. I'll be talking transfers, I'll be talking managers, players, team of the seasons, team of the decades, international teams. We'll go through it all each day, and hope you really like it and subscribe. And all the football fans that I know, I'm sure you'll get something out of it. So yeah, good seeing you guys. See you soon.